What's going on? We have an interview.
Oh, shit. Nobody told me. John, did you know about
told
this?
you about it.
I mean, I'm at the airport. I have no idea we were supposed to do anything.
Come on.
I got to check my emails.
James, you got to do it.
What?
We can't.
Just for
No,
now.
come on. No, we need you guys.
John and I are not available.
Yeah, I can't.
You take over. Everything will be fine. Say hi to everybody for us.
Yeah, you know.
Okay,
you know.
fine.
Yeah,
I
you got it.
I got it.
You got it. You totally got it.
Ugh. Welcome to Gear Club Catch-Ups, the show where our illustrious guests return to talk recent events in the art of recording. It's still a show about nothing, but more recent nothing, and we're giving John and Stewart a little time off, so I'll be asking the questions. We've been lucky to interview some of the best the music industry has to offer. They've shared their history and stories, their insights and advice, their experience and perspective. Let's find out what they've been up to.
Hey Gear Clubbers, welcome to this edition of Gear Club's Catch-Ups. Stewart's super busy working out of town, and James is just super busy working here, so I'm going to take over for this one. And it turns out our guest this time is Ed Stasium, who I refer to as Uncle Ed. Without further ado, here it comes.
We first interviewed producer and engineer Ed Stasium in episodes 80 and 81, where he talked to John and Stewart about recording some truly seminal albums with Gladys Knight and the Pips, the Ramones, Talking Heads, and Living Colour, and about his pivotal role in the design and building of the power station in New York City. The episodes are a wonderful inside look into music history. I highly recommend checking them out. In this episode, John catches up with Ed about recent records from the Hoodoo Gurus and the Dictators, Remixing The Replacements Tim and outtakes from Talking Heads 77, and his recent immersive audio work.
How you been?
Better than most, not as good as some. I mean, when was the last time we spoke? It was ages ago.
A couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, it was pre-COVID, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been doing tons of stuff, from remixing, the Tim, the Replacements Tim record. Which everybody kind of loves.
I bought Tim when it came out.
Yeah.
That was the first Replacements record I listened to. And wasn't that the first for like a major label?
Yeah, it was on Sire.
So I bought that when it came out. And quite frankly, I just thought this is the way they wanted it to sound.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But then I love the fact that when you remixed it, even just watching on the internets, everybody's got a fucking opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I finally went and listened to your mixes, and they sound great. Like you can hear everything now, and it's, it sounds like them.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I was like, like the difference between like music and movies is like, oh, they remade Dune. Nobody gives a shit.
Right.
Right? Ed remixes Tim. 15 people have attitudes about it. But they're on the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they have the original mix remastered.
Listen to
the
it.
Box set. Listen to that.
So in the thing, they put both on?
Yeah, it's a box set.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
No, it's a box set. It's a nice booklet. Bob Muir did this great, essay.
Yeah, Bob is awesome.
Yeah, he's wonderful. And, Bob and, Bob's been wanting to do this since day one.
Right.
And they finally got to it with Jason Jones over there at Rhino.
Right.
And, they gave me a dossier when they, because there was a lot of material that hadn't been released.
Oh, wow.
All the Alex Chilton sessions that were done. We did Left of the Dial was on the record, the original record.
Right.
It was produced by Alex Chilton. And I just got a lot of material. I got a complete dossier of what to do, try this, There seems to be extra guitars and extra vocals. So the one thing that was really challenging was matching the original Paul Westerberg's original vocals. And I had to, everything's on tape, so I had to kind of time stretch the original production master to match the multi-track.
Oh, wow.
You know, yeah, because I needed to find out what guitar parts there were, because, you know, apparently Bob Stinson came in for like 2 days. He wasn't on the tracking dates, or maybe some of the songs he tracked. But there were like multiple takes of guitars, multiple takes of vocals on, I would say, 90% of the songs. And I needed to especially match the vocals. And they didn't, Tommy Erdely, my old pal.
Tommy Ramone.
You know, he produced that record.
Yeah.
But when they mixed it, he didn't comp. You know, you and I'm sure we do the same thing. We do, how many tracks? 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And then comp them up into one track. Well, Tommy and the engineer did not do that. They apparently, because there was no comp track of the vocals, and there was 2 tracks of Synthi, so it was an early, I don't know what console it was or what computer system they used, but they did all the muting with computers. So I'd have to line up by time stretching, so it would be playing at the exact same time.
Right.
And then I would put the original mix, pan it all the way over to the left, and then take the vocal and pan it to the right. And when I'd have to go through all the vocal tracks, and then when they matched up and kind of went into a phasing and ended up in the middle, I knew that was the right track that they used.
I just did that too. I put the record on the left, and I put what I thought were the choice mixes on the right, and listened to them in stereo to make sure things were happening. That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
And it was all on analog.
It was all analog. It was all tape.
And did you have to bake it and then bounce it into digital, or
that's all done? You know, Warner Brothers, they do all that.
Right.
And well, except for the Chilton stuff, they had somebody else do. They searched around and they found them somewhere. I don't even know where they found the Chilton. There was like 5 songs that Chilton produced.
Oh, wow.
And and they only used Left of the Dial for the Tim album, the original. And so, I mixed the other 4 as well, and they're included on the box set.
I got to say, after listening to a bunch of it on like Tidal, like it sounds great. I mean, I'm just
thanks.
like, it's so psyched that you did it. Yeah, I bet it was, right?
I spent forever, honestly, months, because they kept going through, Jason at Rhino and Bob. They would listen to the mixes and they make suggestions to give me comments. And then they would give it to the band guys. They'd give it to Westerberg and Tommy Stinson, and they would make comments. So we'd go back and forth and back and forth. And then, I got into the Atmos thing. So I also did Atmos mixes.
Oh,
of that,
great.
Which it's a lot of fun.
Do you do it there?
Yeah, I got a setup here.
Great.
Yeah, I did that. I got started summer of 22, I think.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, summer of 22. Rhino was like threatening me for a while about doing Atmos.
Right.
And finally, my great friend Suzanne Savage over there says, "Oh, we need to do the Talking Heads catalog in Atmos."
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I ended up not doing the catalog. At first, before she talked to Jerry Harrison, I was going to do the whole thing, which would have been a tremendous, crazy job.
Right.
Fortunately, Jerry and E.T. Thorngren had done 5.1 mixes of the catalog. So they took their stems from there and then broke them out into Atmos.
Oh, wow. And that works? I guess it works.
It did, yeah. Well, they adjusted it. They kind of adjusted it somehow. I wasn't involved with that aspect of it.
Right.
But it was like August, and I'm like, okay, when do you need it? September. You need it next month. You need to do it by next month. Okay.
Okay.
So I was in the middle of a bunch of projects. I was doing this guy Paul West from Maui, this kind of alt country rock guy, and the Long Riders record.
Oh, wow.
We did.
Oh, yeah. I love Steven. I've met him a few times.
Love them all. Yes, he knows you. Your name came up.
He's friends with Steve Wynn.
Yes.
And we've recorded in Richmond, and then he's visited and played. He's a really nice guy. I really like him.
He told me that he met you during Steve's project.
Yeah.
So I was in the middle of all this stuff, and I had a trip to Maui planned, and so, but then I started, talking to my a buddy of mine over at Vintage King, and got the whole setup and got it all shipped in, and then had a team come in and mount it and put it together and get the interface and all the speakers and all that business going.
Yeah.
So But before we did that, Nico Bolas called me like a year before that and said, Ed, you got to start mixing Dolby Atmos. I'm like, what's that? I didn't think
right.
Okay, I'll do Atmos. What the fuck do I do? I had no idea.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I knew, Jeff and Tina. I knew that Jeff and Tina at the Village Recorder up in L.A. had put an Atmos. Recently put an Atmos room there.
Right.
So I called Tina. I said, we need to start this Talking Heads project. Can I get in there? And I called Nico. I said, Nico, help. Because I had no idea. You got to come up with a template and, what do I do? I mean, I understood the concept of it, but.
Right.
So Nico spent a day with me and he just made a template, which I use to this day.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just import everything. And
is the template basically where to place things in the...
Yeah. Well, no, I place things. It's the routing. The template is the routing.
Right.
Because you could put things in all those different places. We have the 7 speakers around me here.
Right.
2 subwoofers in the front and 4 speakers in the ceiling here. And you could put it anywhere. You could put it here, there, down there. When you pan it and work between the uppers and the mid speakers, I really like it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then you have to match the original production master. So it has to be the exact same time because they have, it's Apple Music I'm talking about.
Right.
You have to match the exact length of the original production master because they have all the lyrics up there and everything that matches. And some of the stuff has vari speed on it, and that's a pain in the butt.
That you don't know, right? I mean, you don't know because there's once again, there's no notation.
No
and
notes.
It is what it is.
No. And I did a bunch of stuff for Rhino. I did a Bad Company song, and it varied throughout the whole track. The production master changed. There must have been either the multi-track or the mix deck.
Right.
Wasn't constant, so it constantly moved. So we had to do. I think there was maybe 6 or 7 different sections that we had to take and do the time stretch thing on the multi-track, so
That's
it would match.
crazy.
Yeah.
So when you do the Atmos mix, do you get comments about the mix to tweak or
no?
And what kind of comments do you get? Well, right, because it's so different.
Yeah, and there's nowhere to hear it. You got to go to a studio to listen to it. Oh,
right. So you just get to do it and it's
done.
done.
I get to do it and I match it as well as I can, like I said, and it's really easy to import my mix that I did because everything's I don't use anything analog. Everything is in the box, totally in the box. And I import my original mix into Pro Tools and it's astoundingly, the levels almost match. I mean, of course, all the moves and the computers, everything there. Plugins are all there. Plugins work fine, and I just A/B. When I A/B when it comes right into Atmos, it's in stereo.
Right.
It's panned as it is on the 2-track mix. Right. But I can A/B the original to what's coming, and it's exactly the same. It's crazy, and then I just start moving stuff around.
During COVID, were you just working out of the house, or were you going other places anyway?
The only place that I worked with the Tearaways, that Santa Barbara band, and Glenn Burke got me on the project.
Oh, cool.
And Mark Platt, I think. But Clem plays drums in the band. Right. So we tracked everything at the Village. And we did some stuff before. I mean, we spent maybe three years on and off working on that project.
Oh, wow.
But we would track up at the Village and do some vocals up there. Do most of the stuff, overdubs, everything there. And then we did a bunch of stuff here as well. We did another Empty Hearts record, did the Tearaways record. I finished mixing End of the Century, which still hasn't come out. I mean, we finished that in 2020. And Rick Rubin supervised the mix.
Oh, wow. And then is that because of vinyl, or is that just because...
I have no idea why it's
vinyl or boondoggle? I know for me, I have... the last month, I've had 2 records come out that basically took a year, you know what I mean, because of vinyl and waiting for vinyl and release schedules.
Yeah, they don't say, I guess, I don't know about the vinyl business because, Rhino has some stuff going on. I mean, we finished that Tim, the Replacements mix, and, had it mastered. We had test pressings in 2 weeks.
That's amazing. Yeah, maybe they have a plant or something. I don't know.
No,
You
they
know
don't
what I
have
mean?
a plant. They do it in Europe. It's overseas.
Right.
And I guess they have priority. They must have
Right.
priority because they have so much product.
Yeah, maybe that's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about the working from home thing, I mean, I set this up too, like in, I think it was the summer of 2020. Yeah, right when the pandemic started.
Yeah, right on.
And the stuff that my first couple of things I sent, I sent one thing to Greg and I called him. I was like, how am I doing? You know, and then I have a guy who's the indie rock guy in St. Louis, Brad, who does like a lot of my indie self-finance stuff. And the same thing with him.
Yeah, me
You
too.
know-
I did the same thing when I did the Atmos thing. You know, I befriended some people at Dolby and at Apple, and I would send them, you know, the mix. Hey, how am I doing with that? And
Yeah,
because I didn't know, and they're like, it sounds great, no problem, sounds cool.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I love the feedback, honestly. Like, I don't know how other people do with mastering engineers, but I want to know as much as possible what did you do to my record?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I just want to know. I just want to know if I missed something or.
Sure. You know, during the first year of COVID, you know, I started mixing the Hoodoo Guru's record. There's like
that's amazing.
18 songs. You know, I did 3 records with them previously. And then I mixed this new one, which is called Chariot of the Gods.
Another Friday night, I got a bit tight. I'm in a world of pain. I'm in a world
Unlike Chariots of the Gods.
Right.
Chariot of the Gods. And so we were doing it remotely, you know, because, you know, Dave Faulkner, leader and chief songwriter, singer-songwriter of the band. They're in Australia.
Right.
There's a big time difference, as you
yeah.
know. And you know, we started doing it, and he was making comments by email, and he was like, he called me one day. He says, I can't work like this. We have to find a different method. I need to be more hands-on. And then, you know, I said, well, I remember Stewie. It was, I think it was when we were doing a Gear Club thing way back when, and he mentioned that Audio Movers thing.
Oh yes, yeah.
So I said, there's this plug-in thing. There's this it streams at, you know, high res. They do 192 now, by the way. And so I would jump on Zoom, so we would have a visual. We both wear headphones. He got the same headphones that I did, and we'd sit there for hours tweaking the songs.
Wow.
And it was kind of fun.
Right.
You know, and I did the whole record like that. We ended up remixing a couple things that I had done previously, and then did 18 songs.
Wow. Are they going to release all 18?
It's already out.
But they released all 18? They didn't save any for like B-sides?
No, they said it were B-sides. Yeah, I think it's a double album. So I think they put 6. They might have put 15 or 16 songs on the album. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Greg mastered that. I love Greg. He's a great friend. You know, I've known him over 50 years. So I've been using the Audio Movers thing. Who else? Andy Chernoff with the Dictators. I've been mixing Dictator stuff.
Oh, cool.
When the misfits ruled Forest Hills High School. Yeah, I'm talking about Sweet Joey.
Now, did you track this stuff?
No, just mixing it. Andy does. They do all the tracking back east.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with him on a song I mixed for him years ago. It was like a Christmas song. He was a trip to work with because once again, as a kid, I was into the Dictators. You know what I mean? My brothers turned me on to them. So, yeah. So, pretty awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
I did the Zoom Audio Movers thing with him. My buddy Mike Bonagura in Nashville worked with him that way. It's
cool.
It's almost like having somebody in the room.
Yeah, I missed that, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Camaraderie, you know, being especially working like a Right Track or A&M, where you walk down the hall and somebody else, you know, your buddy's working in the next room.
Yeah.
It's always fun. You run into people, you meet new people that way as well.
Yeah. The nice thing about being in Kaleidoscope in Union City is that they have a second room across the courtyard that my buddy Tom Beaujour, who's a really good musician and a producer and engineer, he rents that room out all the time. So I could just like walk out of my studio, walk into his and see who he's working with. And a lot of times he's working with people that were all mutual friends. So I do get that up there sometimes, which
That's
is pretty
cool.
neat.
Yeah. And what else have I been doing? We put together a Talking Head 77 deluxe box. There was an outtake of Psycho Killer that I had forgotten about. We recorded it's a completely different version, not the acoustic version. The acoustic version was like we made a copy of it was all 16 track. Made a copy of that and then overdubbed like the cello and some acoustic guitar on it. But this was a complete, like a live vocal on the floor, which I used, and then there was an overdubbed vocal, and then a backing vocal with Jerry, and then I had forgotten that I did. I'm pretty good at getting feedback with the Stratocaster, from when I was a kid practicing.
Oh, that's cool.
Practicing with Jimmy, So I did like 3 tracks of feedback on the end of it.
Oh my God!
Where it goes into the the rave up. There's a version of Pulled Up that we put horns on. Tony Bon Jovi's idea.
Wow.
But the band hated the horns, so we never used it. But for this box set, I did a mix with the horns, which was fun. But get this, okay. On October 10th, 1977, right after the record came out, the record was released in September of 77. We did the band did a gig at CBGB. They had a 16-track MCI at the sound at the desk.
At the booth. Wow.
The PA. Well, it wasn't even a booth. It was right in the room. It was right there.
Yeah.
So we just did. They had it split. So the microphone would go to the right straight, no EQ, straight to the 16 track.
Right.
And then to the PA. It was for a radio show, and it was during my last days at Power Station. And I guess the show probably finished at like midnight, 1 o'clock, 1 a.m.
Right.
They needed it the next day. This was like a rush thing. So I ran, at that time, we were just still building Power Station, really. Studio A the control room was complete. They were still working on the room itself. And I went over there at like 1 a.m. with my buddy Chip Miles, and we stayed up all night.
Mixing it.
Yeah. And then editing it together, I'm just...
Yeah. That's amazing.
So, Jason Jones says, "Yeah, I got this. We got these multi-tracks from CB." I'm there. What? I just left them at Power. I don't even know how they got them, but they survived all these years. It was fun revisiting a recording that I did, in 1977.
1977. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was a lot. I was shocked. Oh, speaking of going back and remixing stuff that you did a gazillion years ago, I did a 50th anniversary Dolby Atmos mix of Midnight Train to Georgia.
What?
Yeah.
That is sick. What is that like?
It's cool. It's from 16 track. It sounds cool.
I can't wait to hear where you put things on that.
Yeah. You can. It's on Apple Music. You have to have the playback, of course.
Yeah, I don't have the playback yet.
I A/B it. The drums sounded. It was like one of the first things I ever recorded. The drums sound like shit.
I remember that.
They sound like crap. They do. They sounded terrible. The kick drum was like.
Where did you record it?
Tony Camello's studio in New Jersey.
Right. Okay, so Tony's studio.
Venture Sound.
Yeah. Right, okay.
And what's really funny is every time I see Bobby Clearmountain, he's there. That snare drum on Midnight Train to Georgia is amazing. I could never get that sound. Okay, Bobby, sure, whatever you say. Yeah, but actually the snare sound, I guess it sounded cool, and it's kind of a hook of the song as well, of the sound, that snare drum. But they sounded like crap. But I managed to fix it up a little bit. But on the original mix of Midnight Train, you can't even hear the kick drum. That's why it doesn't. You can't hear it. It's like,
right.
It's way down there somewhere.
Yeah, but isn't it funny how you can't hear it, but when you listen to that song, you're not listening for it?
No, of course not. You listen to the song.
The song, yeah.
As we all should listen to the song.
And that's the thing, and that's an iconic fucing song.
Yeah,
man.
And 50 years ago.
I know. It's fucking amazing. Dude,
insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah. On a final note, my current project, besides a couple of indie things that I'm working on, is after Dee Dee left the Ramones, he did 3 solo records, not counting Dee Dee King, that rap record that he did, but he did 3 Ramones solo records. And I'm remixing all of them. there's like 55 songs.
And who put them out?
It's doing it. The state is doing this. I'm doing it for
No, but who put them out originally?
these obscure European labels. I don't even think.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't even think they were released here.
Okay, because I don't.
Nobody even. I didn't know about them.
Right. I mean, now that you're saying it, I've never heard. I didn't realize.
Never heard
That's
of it.
cool.
You know, you can go to Discogs and they list them there, but they're on these wacky independent European independent labels.
Do you notice with a lot of this stuff, and maybe not because it's older stuff and people were paying attention, but I notice now with a lot of sessions I get, like major phase issues on things.
Always.
Like if there's 2 or 3 guitar mics,
Always.
one of them might be out of phase.
Always. Bass,
Okay.
if there's a bass,
Yeah.
Drums,
Yeah.
the overheads are out of phase.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have to check that all the time now.
Me too. Yeah, kick drum.
Yeah.
If and we're not talking about Dee Dee stuff in general, but other stuff that I get in that people record on their own usually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If there's a close mic and a far mic from the kick drum, they're out of phase all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Bass is out of phase. Guitars, like you're saying, there's 2 guitar mics on the replacement thing. The guitar mics were out of phase. The bass was out of phase. All of it. But not on the Chilton replacements tracks. That was cool. But everything that Tommy did, all the bass, the mic and the direct bass and the mic were out of phase.
But really great seeing you. I mean, I'm glad we did it. Just even, forget about the podcast, just to hang. So,
yeah, man, exactly.
So thank you so much, man.
It's great to see you, man.
I know, you too. Okay. Have a good one. Yay, Ed!
See you real soon.
For links, playlists, and extras for this and all our episodes, visit GearClubPodcast.com and be sure to sign up for the mailing list for the latest news and interviews. Follow us on social media at Gear Club Podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Gear Club Podcast for video versions of all our episodes and more. Thanks for listening. Gear Club is produced by me, James Frazee, and the inexplicably enigmatic Jacques Friest. Our video wizard is Emily Sassmore. Matt Ely is our production and scheduling czar. Luna Navarro is our social media maven. Big thanks to our announcer, Bella Pearl Aniello, musical director, Mel F. Lewis, our legal counsel, the firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, our house band, the Silver Merkins, and our sponsor, Eventide.
In a town this size, there's no place to hide. Everywhere you go, you meet someone you know. You can't steal a kiss in a place like this. How the room